So there's lots of ways if we think of like a funnel. I know we use a lot of jargon in the field, launches, funnels, but top of the funnel is where someone first comes in, and that could just be a downloadable PDF. That's what mine is. It's a downloadable PDF, and um, and I have an evergreen funnel where I'm making offers immediately.
Hey, welcome to the Master Delegator podcast. Today I am so excited because I am joined by Amy Lippmann. She is a marketing strategist and launch expert. She spent over 15 years in the coaching industry, helping thousands of coaches with their launches while banking over 50 of her own 5 and 6 figure launches. One of Amy's greatest joys is helping coaches get their courses and programs launched out into the world in a way that works best for them. And today we will talk about different launch methods and how to determine what works best for you. I'm super excited because I have never had a guest who talked about this topic, and Amy is the first one. So I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot from her, and I'm sure that whoever is listening to this podcast episode is gonna get a lot from Amy as well. So, Amy, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Kristy, for having me.
You're welcome. Well, hey, I did your I introduced you. I know it's kind of quite short, but it's short but very meaty. So out
Mhm.
of the bio that you sent me, I can come up with like 10 questions already. So my first question for you is, how many launches have you had already? Is it correct? You had over 50 launches already?
Yes, I mean, it's to the point where I can't count it. I kind of estimated based on like the lowest possible number that I've been doing each year for many years. So it's
That is
been
really
a lot.
awesome. Yeah, that's why when I read your bio, I was like, 50, is this a typo? Like 50 really? Like, wow. When did you
Yes.
start doing that?
So I first started my entrepreneur journey back in 2006. As a health coach, and I was a health coach for 5 years. And then I realized I really love the back end work and the marketing. And so I started reaching out to some health coaches that I knew and asked them, would you like some help? Would you like some support? And I immediately got a whole bunch of yeses, and so I started working one-on-one with health coaches and nutritionists and wellness pros, mostly with their launches. It was kind of everything, but it really, the theme was they wanted help with their launches for the most part. And then I transitioned from one-on-one work to having group offerings and digital programs and products, and done for you programs for wellness pros and health coaches. And then Launch with Me kind of is another arm of what I do, which is helping coaches of all kinds who want to put a course or group program out into the world. Maybe they are launching it for the first time, or maybe they've already launched it before, but they want to get more sales, get more people into their programs and their courses. And so I help them with planning and executing their launches.
That's awesome. So you mainly focus on helping with programs and online course launches, not specifically, helping launch a brand new business.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yes.
Mhm.
That's right. That's right.
I think it's very important that we differentiate the two because they're very different. When you launch a business, it's a whole new world, than launching, a course or a program. So what was
Well,
go
I
ahead.
would just say, Kristy, sorry to interrupt you, but in my marketing for health coaches world, which is my other business that I've had for over 11 years, I am helping mostly newer health coaches with getting their businesses off the ground. But when I use the term launch, helping with launches, it's everything surrounding the lead up and promotion of a group program or course.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. And I don't know if you can still remember the time when you had your first launch, but if you can, that would be awesome. So think about that time and then the most recent launch that you have. So if you can compare your both of your experiences from the time you had your first launch and the time you had your recent launch, what what were the differences and what have you learned from your first launch to your most recent launch?
Oh my goodness, this is a massive question. But I would say, I mean, a huge difference is when you're launching for the first time, you're doing everything. Everything is new. So you're working on a sales page, you're working on your promo emails, you're working on how are people going to access this in the back, like how is it going to be delivered in the back end? Maybe writing a webinar, those kinds of things. What's the messaging? So, and that is something I really believe in. Like we say rinse and repeat with launches, but I add in tweak. So rinse, tweak, and repeat because we can learn from every launch. What do we want to do differently the next time? How could we improve this? And so I think that tweak piece is important. But what I want everyone to know is the first time you launch is always the hardest, and then each subsequent time it just gets massively, massively easier. And also, not in terms of energy expenditure, in terms of time, and also in terms of investment, because you've done a lot of work. So I've also done a lot of different types of launches, even with one offering over many years. I've launched it in many different ways. And so when I launched in with a challenge, like a free 5-day challenge, that was essentially creating a whole new launch. And that was massive. That was pretty overwhelming.
I'm sure. Oh my.
But then the second time, the third time, the fourth time, I think I ran that challenge maybe 6 times, and it just got easier and easier and easier and kind of plug and play, and especially with how I worked with my team.
Hmm. And there's just a lot of things to consider here because you're not really just launching, that's not the only work that you're going to do when you create an online course or an online program. You also need to create your content, right? Like you may need to write your own script or your outline your topic or film yourself. There's just a lot of things you need to talk about and then you need to market it, you need to launch it. So I'm pretty sure that when you first, I don't know, maybe it's just my my mindset right now that sometimes, when you do your first launch, you don't really have that the budget that you need in order to launch your course successfully, because in a way you're kind of like just beginning, right? So
Yes.
especially if you are very new to the coaching industry, you're kind of like trying to do everything your own so that you won't have to pay for somebody because you're not earning an income yet. That's why you're launching something, right? To be able to have something. So um, I think this is a great topic, to talk about different launch methods because I don't believe in I don't believe that there is one size fits all, strategy. I believe that it's different for everybody, especially if you're in a different industry. So that's why I'm very glad that you are here today to talk about that. So let's dive right in. Tell us, what are the different launch methods that you have, and how can we make sure that one of those methods or is the thing that's best for us?
Yeah, so there's four main launch methods that I see are working right now consistently. And like you said, it's not one size fits all, depending on your offering, depending on where you're at in your business right now, depending on your style, and also is it a brand new program? Have you offered it before? So I'll just kind of quickly state the four launch styles. The first is the Evergreen Launch, which is it's kind of that what we think of when we think of like set it and forget it, make money in your sleep kind of thing. Basically, where when people join your list, you are warming them up with emails and ultimately promoting an offering and sending them to a sales page to purchase that thing. And every new person who comes in is getting that offer on certain days from which they opted in, right? So instead of it being a live launch with this is launching October 1st, it's always going. And so that can be great if you know that you have an opt-in gift, a free gift that you are driving traffic to the landing page that promotes that, and you're consistently driving solid traffic to that every month, then that's going to be a really key piece. Because with Evergreen, if you're not getting people into that opt-in, then you're not going to you have no one to send your offer to.
Right, yeah.
So, but that can be a really I have a lot of things on Evergreen right now, and that's been really nice. I would say with Evergreen, you really want to know that you have something that you have launched in the past and that it sells well, because live launches definitely perform better than an evergreen launch, but there are benefits to an evergreen launch in that it's not the same intensity of your time and your energy. You're setting it up once, or your assistant is setting it up once, and you can tweak it over time. So you can watch how things are performing. What's the open rate on the emails? What's the click-through rate? How are the pages converting? And you can tweak those over time and gradually get it performing better and better.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Is Evergreen most of the time free training?
So there's lots of ways if we think of like a funnel. I know we use a lot of jargon in the field, launches, funnels, but top of the funnel is where someone first comes in, and that could just be a downloadable PDF. That's what mine is. It's a downloadable PDF, and um, and I have an evergreen funnel where I'm making offers immediately. So they opt in for a downloadable PDF, and then if they opt in, they're presented with a very low cost, high value offer. Also in the world of coaching, online coaching, it's called a Tripwire. So this could be anywhere from like $9 to $47. And if they purchase that, they're then presented with another offer called a one-time offer. And that's like a pretty large bump up, but it's something that it's all connected. So the theme and the topic of the lead magnet that they've opted in for, and then that low cost offer, and then that one-time offer, it's all related. You don't want
Mm-hmm.
to have someone opt in for something and then make an offer for something that's completely unrelated. But you're
Right.
building and you're showing them, oh wait, I've got this other resource for you. And then I have a second one-time offer as well. So if they buy that one-time offer, then they get one final offer that's like an upgrade on what they've already purchased. And the benefits of that are people get instant access. It's like that immediate gratification. And we know that people are most interested when they first opt in. Some people are going to take that step right away. If you present them with a really high value offer that is low cost, and we know then you're building a list of buyers rather than just a list of people who want free stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
I
yeah,
think I think this is like almost similar or probably the same as what Russell Brunson talks about in one of his courses. It's called Value Ladder. Like you present your lowest offer first, and then once you get them hooked already into buying your product, then you present them with a higher offer. It's like you
yes,
provide them value at a lower cost first, and then once they really know you that you are like the authority in your industry, then that will make them buy more from you, and then you can get them to buy your more higher cost products. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So because right now I have, so last year I was thinking of, okay, I'm gonna create my own online course, so I can also educate people, how to hire a virtual assistant and how they can delegate effectively. So I kind of sort of have an evergreen online course that's out there. I have like a free training, but it wasn't live. It wasn't it's pre-recorded. I did not have a live audience when I recorded that. So it's just recorded on my screen. So it's out there on my website. It's been there actually, and I had to learn Kajabi to do that, and then I think it's been live since January, and I've been getting a lot of leads from it. So
That's great.
I use Kajabi for that, and then I use Mailchimp for my virtual assistant agency. So I use Zapier to connect kind of like my email leads from Kajabi to Mailchimp, and every week when my email marketing assistant reports to me, our growth for email marketing, she's like, you know what, we are really growing. Every week we have like 40 to 50 additional subscribers because of that evergreen course, and I only did that for 30 minutes, and now I probably have gathered more than 500 leads since January from that
That's so great.
from that uh, from
Yeah.
that evergreen course. So that's why I asked, is this mostly like the free stuff? Because to me it's for free, my free training. I don't know if
Yes.
that's the best way to do that.
Yeah, there's so many ways to do it with I gave the downloadable PDF as an
Mm-hmm.
example, but a video training, a video series, an email series, there's lots of options. And so doing what I always like to think of pairing up, how do your ideal clients like to receive content, and how do you like to deliver content, like what
Mm,
mode works for you. And also sometimes we have to look at what is it that we're delivering and how is that best delivered. Is it something that, like my lead magnet for my marketing for health coaches business, which is the example I gave, it's 5 clients in 30 days action plan, and it really lays out day by day what to do, and it builds upon one another. That needed to be a PDF, so those are the things I would take into account, but there's no right or wrong here.
Are you sick and tired of being overwhelmed and afraid you'll never scale your business? Meet Smart VAs. Unlike many virtual assistant agencies that only assign one dedicated virtual assistant, we provide flexibility for growing businesses by assigning a team of experienced virtual assistants that can do different tasks to support your continuous growth. Visit smartvas.online to book a free discovery call and start growing your business.
I like what you said about, it really depends on your target audience, like how they want to receive, and um how they want to receive the product or the course that you have, and how they want it delivered as well. So I think that's very crucial to know as well. So aside from evergreen content, like, I'm sure you kind of mentioned live video, like live webinar
Well,
earlier.
so in terms of the four launch methods, we've talked about the evergreen launch method. The others are the challenge launch,
Okay.
which is where you would typically have like 5 days of content that drips out. Usually it's live and it's a live stream paired with emails that are going out. Again, really high value content, something you would charge for, and you're going directly into your theme of your challenge should relate to the thing you're selling, and you're seeding that offer during the challenge and then leading people, inviting them to your offer at the end of the challenge. The third one is the webinar launch, which I think a lot of us are familiar with, and that is where you would do um, with a live launch, you do a live webinar and you would present really valuable content on that webinar, similar to a challenge. Um, Not as much work as a challenge. A challenge and a webinar can also go well together, but that might be something to build upon if you already have a webinar and you want to boost the interest in the program. Maybe adding on a challenge that you do along with the webinar can work really well. I've done that and that worked really well. And then the fourth method is the waitlist launch, and the waitlist launch is typically for a high-end type of program, not a low-cost one unless you have a massive list, a massive audience. And you're usually sending out a few weeks of free content that relates to the offer, and you're providing links for people to get on the wait list, letting them know the doors are going to open or applications are going to, come out, or whatever the case is, and you're getting people onto a wait list. It's a way to get people to raise their hand and for you to identify that they are really interested. And in some cases, when you open the doors, you may only invite the people on that wait list. Or if it's something where you could sell unlimited quantity of the thing, then you would invite all your whole list plus the people on the wait list to um, to sign up for your offering. But that can also be really good if you don't have your program or your offering ready yet. You can still start to get people on a wait list.
Right. Wow. So we have evergreen content, challenge, your challenge launch, and webinar launch, and waitlist launch. Out of these four methods, what do you think works best for busy entrepreneurs, especially with coaches, right? Sometimes they do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and that outside the one-on-one and group coaching, they also do some things like admin tasks, or maybe they need to learn something in order to teach other people, what they have learned. So, all of us, like, we're just busy all the time, so
Yes.
what is the best method that you think is the best for busy and overwhelmed entrepreneurs?
Well, I would say that the webinar launch is always going to be a strong option. And it's, like I said earlier, it's much less intensive in terms of the workload than a challenge. You're still creating a webinar, you're still creating slides, right? You, you still, in any kind of launch, you're going to need promo emails and a sales page and a way to deliver the offering. I love Kajabi too. I use that for my business.
Although it's
Um,
expensive, right? But it has a lot of great features. Yeah.
It does. And what I've learned about Kajabi is that it really is an all-in-one system.
Yeah.
And so we're actually moving, we are in the process of, fingers crossed, moving off of Entreport into, which is a very robust email marketing
Yeah.
system, to Kajabi, because we were using Kajabi for, we needed it for our portal for all of our offerings. And then we realized, well, wait, it's a big task to undertake, but your virtual assistant can help you with these things. So,
Yeah.
um, but the webinar launch is going to be, it's all work, right? But the way I think to stay out of overwhelm is to have a plan, and plan ahead so you can create spaciousness around your launch. If you want to launch something in January, start working on it now. I'm actually working on something new, and so I'm back in the trenches of like, oh, we have to create the thing. We have to create all the marketing around the thing, like it's everything, soup to nuts. We have to put it in a portal. And so really thinking through the timeline of it, and just giving yourself, one of the things we can do, and I've learned this slowly, I will say, is that as entrepreneurs, we are our own boss. That doesn't mean it's easy, right? Because there can be the financial pressure of, well, I need to get this out into the world because I need to make sales. I want to make sales. And you can do some initial sales with like a beta launch where you go really bare bones and you get some sales in, and and then you learn from that and you gather testimonials, and then you do a bigger launch the next time. But I really think it's all about chunking it out, and not forgetting the importance of all the promotion, because when we're in the content creation mode of the actual thing we're selling, if we're selling like a mastermind or group coaching or something like that, then there really doesn't have to be content creation that you're doing. You're more focused on the marketing. You're building your list, and so that you can have more and more people to make your offers to. Um, but yeah, just giving yourself enough time, not just for the content creation, but also the marketing, because you can have the best program in the world. And if you don't put enough time and thought into the marketing, then you're not going to, unfortunately, it's not going to be super successful.
Right.
So, long-winded answer, I would go with the webinar launch. That is going to be, I wouldn't do Evergreen. I'll give you my thought process. I wouldn't do Evergreen for your first launch. Because we want to, before you set up everything that's involved in making something evergreen, you want to know that this is something that's selling well, that you fine tune the marketing around it. Your marketing has to be very strong for an evergreen launch. And then I wouldn't start necessarily with a challenge if the entrepreneur is really feeling stretched, because of the time and energy involved in that. And then the waitlist launch, you can kind of pair with a webinar launch or not. If you are selling a high-end offering where maybe it's a mastermind, I'll just use that example again and say you're selling 10 spots in a 6-month mastermind, then a waitlist launch could be great, where you're just sending out emails with videos or live streams or podcast episodes or whatever way you like to do your content, but make sure there's emails sending people to those pieces of content, and you're telling people about the thing that's coming up. You're sending them to a waitlist page, and then you're sending emails promoting the thing. That would be like simpler than the webinar launch, because you're not necessarily doing the webinar piece of it.
Yeah. Well, I totally agree with you that having a solid plan is, just the key to your success, because however great your content is, however knowledgeable you are in the topic that you want to talk about, if you don't have a plan, I mean, you're gonna get more overwhelmed. And so, how do we know which one is the right method for us?
So I would answer, well, first of all, I would say I have a resource that I think we'll tell you about at the end, where there's some checklists and questions you can ask
I
yourself
see.
to help
Okay.
you identify. I've talked about a bunch of them
Mm-hmm.
already. Um, so it's also like, what do you feel excited about doing? I think that now more than ever, it's so important that in not just in the things we're offering and the things we're doing in our business, but even the way we're marketing, um, really has to be in alignment. We really want to work towards that. It's something I'm fine tuning, which is like listening to myself. Yes, I listen to the experts, but listen to myself. What feels right? I had to make a decision, or I'm in the process of making a decision now about this new offering. And do I start with a beta launch where I sell to existing customers and do something smaller and then do a bigger launch? I'm like, which one should I do? There's no right or wrong answer here. What feels better to me? So going with what feels better to you, and then um, tuning into some of the things that I brought up, like, is this a new program? Do you have the energy for a challenge? Do you love live interaction? I love a challenge because of that live teaching interaction. People love it. Um, I know when I do a challenge, it's super fulfilling for me, but it's also a lot of work. And so if I have a lot going on in my life, uh, I'm not going to plan a challenge. Or if it's my first launch of a program, I'm not going to do a challenge probably because I have so many other things I'm doing for the first
Right.
time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's true. And I like what you said about just to listen to yourself. Because personally, out of the four methods that you mentioned, I like evergreen content. Um, that's because it's not live. I can pre-record myself, and given the fact that English is not my first language, I mess up a lot of times, with my grammar and with how just I present myself. There's just a lot of pressure, even if you're not in front of people, right? Even if you're just in front of the camera, talking to the camera all alone, there's so much pressure already. So for me personally, evergreen content works the best. Based on my experience as well, because I have an evergreen content right now running, and I sometimes forget that it's out there. People are subscribing to it. So yes, so that's why I like what you said about know what works best for you by knowing what makes you happy, what motivates you the most, and just listen to yourself. Check your schedule as well. If you're gonna do a waitlist launch, just like what you mentioned earlier, you have to make sure that you have prepared series of email that you're gonna be sending out to your participants, because you need to hype them up. Because if you
Yeah.
don't hype them up, they're not gonna wait for you. They're not gonna wait for your launch. So yeah, so I totally agree with what you said. So out of this out of these four methods, I think the most common thing that they have is that you need to do a lot of work. Regardless what method you're gonna do, you need to promote yourself, you need to do email marketing, you need to have a landing page, sales page, whatever. So what are the things that a newly online course creator can outsource to somebody if they have the budget for it? Let's just
Yes.
say they have the budget to outsource.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Great. I love it. So there are several areas that you can outsource. Um, One, I'd say on a basic level, is having someone set up your course or your program or your content in a portal like Kajabi for you. Um, so the tech pieces, I'm going to kind of give for this first umbrella of the tech
Okay.
pieces. That would always be like unless you are someone who's very technically inclined. And the tools now, I mean, the good news is that they are very user friendly, and you don't need like computer science skills or web design or
Yeah,
any of
no.
that to set things up for yourself. So I guess I would back up and first say, think about what your strengths are. Because there are lots of people who are like really savvy, enjoy getting their hands dirty and in all of it, setting up the emails. So in that tech realm is going to be setting up your program or your course in a portal, setting up emails in an email marketing system, setting up checkout pages where people will put their credit card information, building a sales page, building a opt-in page for potentially for a challenge or a webinar or a lead magnet. So those are the things where I would say, if you love the tech stuff and you're efficient at it, then maybe don't outsource that. Save your money and do it yourself. But if it's something you dread and you're really slow with it as well, then this would be an area to outsource for sure. Because then your brain is going to be able to focus on the things that only you can do. The mental work, the writing, recording, even writing the sales page copy, writing the email copy. That's another thing that you can delegate. You can hire a copywriter to write your sales page for you. You can hire a copywriter to write promo emails for you. That's going to be on the pricier side relative to the tech pieces. So often I find it's really useful for your first time to actually write the copy yourself. When I work with clients on their launches, I'm giving them templates for everything. So it makes it so much easier for them to go in and write their sales page and write, because I'm giving them a framework. I'm giving them copy that they can swap out. Obviously everyone's offering wildly different things out
Right,
in the
yeah.
world, which is amazing. So yeah, those are sort of two of the big areas are going to be like the tech piece and then the writing piece. And I would say the third part, which kind of is a tech piece, I would say, is like the design side of it. And that is mostly related to the pages, the sales page and the landing page. Sometimes person who has the tech skills doesn't have the design skills,
Right,
and
yeah.
sometimes and so ideally the person who, if you're hiring someone to build a sales page for you or landing page, then they have a good eye for things and will
Right.
create something that's visually appealing.
And I totally agree with you, like you really have to know what you are good at and what you are not good at. And you also have to consider what are the things that you love doing. So I feel like I always tell people when they ask me, what task should I delegate? And I say, you know what, I can't really answer you specifically because it really depends on the person. You always have to know, what are the tasks that you enjoy doing and you're good at, do that most of the time. And what are the things that you're not good at and you're not enjoy, outsource that, delegate that 100% of the time. Please,
Yes.
don't force yourself to do something that you don't enjoy and you're not good at because you're like doing a suicide, right? Like we don't have all the time in the world, to do something that we don't like and we don't enjoy. So I think if we really want to be efficient with our time and if we want to sustain the peace and joy in our hearts, we need to just
Mhm.
do the things that we enjoy and that we are good at. So I love what you said there, when you back up, when you step back a little bit, instead of like outlining all the techie tasks. You're like, oh no, but you have to know what motivates you, what you really enjoy. So I like that answer. So there's a lot of things I would really want to ask you, but we're running out of time here. I mean, I guess we can talk all day, but I want to, also honor the time, your time, and honor the time of our listeners. So where can people find you? And if you have like any sort of promotions, freebies, feel free to mention that as well.
Sure, absolutely. So, if you happen to be a health coach or wellness pro, you can get my free 5 clients in 30 days action plan that I mentioned earlier. Or if you're just curious about, this kind of lead magnet, you can go to healthcoachactionplan.com. And it's just really step by step. And you don't have to be a health coach to follow this, but it's people love it. And I created it because coaches were saying to me, can you just tell me what to do? Like, if you tell me what to do, then I can do it. And so I was like, well, why don't I create this?
Right.
So
Yeah.
we've got scripts and templates built in there. And then if you are interested in um, more guidance in terms of launching, regardless of what type of coach or entrepreneur you are, you can get my free launch guide, which has tech checklists and kind of like self-assessments you can do to figure out which launch plan, which launch style is right for you, as well as like checklists of what you'll need for each launch. And you can get that at launchwithamy.com. And then other than that, you can find me at marketingforhealthcoaches.com. And I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, I will include those information in the show notes. Thank you so much for your time today, Amy.
Thank you so much.